Welcome back to episode 5 of WAVYSHI podcast, a very, very special one. I got some friends with me today. I got a new cameraman, it's Reese, yeah, he's behind there. And then we got my guest, I'll introduce later. But first, I don't know, I like this whole idea of me talking and stuff. And I don't know, you guys can kind of get a feel of me. And then we're also going to have an episode where one of my friends, Allison, she brought it up, doing a podcast with me being interviewed, and then you guys can like give in questions and stuff. So I don't know, if you want to get creative on YouTube, like and then comment down below that stuff. But yeah, I wanted to talk about NFTs. Those are kind of booming right now. A lot of people really don't know what to think about them because they're so new. But I don't know, I think it's cool, and I think it's like a new wave of collecting everything. Everybody wants stuff on their phone. And I don't know, a cool way for like people to show like what they got, what they collected, instead of like having it be in a binder that can be damaged and stuff, but then you can always have your digital collectible. But a lot of people now are saying that it's not going to be worth anything later on because of oversaturation with stuff. Like there's just too many cards, too many art pieces, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I just want to talk about that. There's going to be more about that later on episodes because I'm kind of interested in it, and I know like friends who are and all that. But today, I have a very special guest. Going all the way back to 2nd grade in Miss Wolfgang's class at Town Meadow Elementary. I met this guy and we instantly started hanging out, playing on the same sports teams and growing up together. A little tenure I had living in other states, and we are back now to catch up on Carmel High football, his walk-on at IU, and everything else. We have my man, Andrew Turvy. What's up, bro?
What up, man?
How you doing?
Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's super cool. I don't know, this whole like unfinished house, it reminds me of when we used to go in the basement, play like the shoot, like the mini hoop game, and you'd always like tap the thing to get the high score, and your dad would be like, Andrew, stop, because you could hear like little ding and shit. But yeah, it's super cool to catch up, you know, talk about all this stuff. I see you got, you got the ring on?
Yeah.
There you go.
State championship ring.
Yeah, we'll get into that later. Carmel football, Indiana football, got the Indiana flag. I stated in the last episode that actually dropped last Sunday that I was thinking about going to IU, but you are a walk-on. Dude, that's fucking sick. I can't believe that, like, I mean, we'll go back to 2nd grade. You were playing on, like, the Bengals team. And I remember, I don't know, I just remembered that, and you had like that old helmet, and I don't know, you want to talk about like how you started playing elementary school, like all that stuff, and how like you fell in love with the sport?
Yeah, so my dad introduced me to football, or introduced my brother and I was probably like 4, and my brother was, 5 or 6, and my brother started playing like flag football, like it starts in like kindergarten or something, and so my brother was playing. And I was so jealous. I was like, oh my gosh, like, he's playing football. Like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so we'd play in the yard, like, every day. And then I started playing flag football when I was in kindergarten. And my brother was playing tackle football because he was in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And I was so jealous. I was like, he gets to hit people. Like, I want to tackle somebody, too. And so, like, we would always, like, go out in the yard and practice and stuff. And, like, that's, like, instantly, like, what I wanted to do in life. Like, I just fell in love with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've been playing tackle football since 2nd grade. Played like the Carmel Dads Club program, played like Carmel Pups, like travel team, played in the middle school program. And
I have a question though, because I know Ken Dilgert, his son, Zach Dilgert, is that his name?
Yeah.
Did he play with you and all that stuff? Because
I know like Mr. Dilgert like was one of my coaches. One year, like he like coached me in Pups. He was one of our middle school coaches, like 7th grade year. He was our middle school coach, so like that was super cool. Like he's a Pro Bowler, like I mean, very successful football player in the NFL, and getting to like grow up around him and like learn from him a little bit, like that was super awesome.
Yeah, I mean, did you learn a lot from him and stuff? Like,
yeah, I mean, like I think those like early years of playing football, like it's kind of just like about falling in love with the game. I mean, like like there's gonna be like. You're going to play and it's not going to like look pretty. Like it's a ton of elementary school kids playing football, but just like falling in love with it and like figuring out like if this is something you want
like
to do or not.
Like the sport and like all the IQ and stuff, cuz I know like the same way with basketball for me. I don't know. I think basketball is the furthest sport that I've taken, and like I keep playing. I fell in love with like how a ball can be passed around and everything, and then the open guy's found, and it's a wide open shot, and he makes it. And I like that better than like the big highlight plays. But was there anything specific that like Mr. Dilger gave you, like tips, advice? Did he like see anything in you from a young age? Or?
I mean, like I was always like like a bigger kid, I guess, and that's obviously helpful in football. But like,
yeah.
I wouldn't say there's anything specific. It was just like he was always such a great coach at like being positive. I think like because you get to high school and your coaches are hard on you obviously and stuff like that. But like at a young age, like the coaches just like being positive with you and like pushing you along the right direction. And it's not necessarily about like being the best. Like you're in elementary school, but just having fun doing it.
Oh yeah,
was the big thing back then.
Yeah. I mean, super cool that like I said, you were just falling in love with it. Like we were literally playing like NCAA football on like the Wii and stuff. Which, by the way, coming back, that's gonna be huge. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
But I also remember like you in that neighborhood. I mean, we'll bring up Miles Embry because you talked about being big. Me and Miles Embry, we were friends. We wanted to play football so bad when we were in like elementary school. My parents wouldn't let me. I was tiny. I mean, I'm still kind of tiny, but we have a photo of like our. I don't know. Here, I'll show it to you.
Yeah, can we like clip this in?
Yeah,
like edit this in.
Yeah, exactly. We could do that, but
yeah, we look like some bums though.
But yeah, we could see the height difference right here. Well, if I can find it, yeah. See that? Dude, check that, Reese. God damn. But yeah, growing up in that neighborhood, did you like hang out with a lot of those people and stuff like that?
Well, like obviously I hung out with Miles a lot. Jake. Jake's still one of my best friends because he lived in that neighborhood. We would hang out like all the time. But yeah, I mean like none of those guys like played football. Yeah. Like which is kind of funny. Like all my best friends like I played high school football with, except for like. Like Jake and Miles, I'm still pretty close with those guys, and like we just grew up together. So
yeah, no, I mean, playing football, it's like a brotherly love because like I don't know, it's like going to war every week when you would play. Like
no, it definitely is. I mean, like especially in high school, I never felt like they always say like like when you're on a football team, like that's like your family, and like I was like oh it's like those are my brothers. So like I never really got that until like my sophomore year of high school, where I really felt like I was like these guys like. They're here for me no matter what. I'm here for them no matter what. Like, I'm gonna go to battle with these guys and try to come out on the other side, victorious. And it was like freshman year, like you're on the freshman team, and it was like, we practiced together, we spent a lot of time together, but it just didn't like have that same feel where it was like we were all doing it for each other. It was kind of more like, I'm trying to look good, for the coaches, stuff like that. Yeah. And then like my sophomore year just became like about like it's all for each other. You're gonna give it everything you got. Like on those bad days where you're not feeling great and you're like struggling to get through practice, like you just gotta think about your brothers who are doing it with you, and like that's what gets you through.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like so when you saw that transition, did you see like an improvement in your game and stuff?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean like. When I was a sophomore, I had a lot of great mentors to me, which like I'm super thankful for.
Like seniors and like higher players?
Yeah, like juniors, seniors. Like I mean, like to name a few guys, like Garrett Sharp, playing football at Harvard.
Yeah, go ahead, give some shout outs if you
can. So he was like my mental mentor. Like all my mentality, working hard, being tough, like mentally tough, all that stuff comes from him. Like we still talk about that kind of stuff a lot.
That's awesome.
Just like, because that's a huge part of it. You have to have the mental edge. You're not always going to be like the strongest guy, the biggest guy, the fastest guy, but if you can have the mental edge, it'll take you really far.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then Ty Wise, linebacker at IU right now. I played the same position as him at Carmel, so he taught me everything I knew about the position. Like he was the best coach there was.
That's awesome.
So and then I got to play a year starting alongside him, and that was a ton of fun. We made a ton of big plays together.
Yeah, that's sick.
And so he taught me like pretty much all the football stuff I know, and I trained with him the off season still. So.
Yeah, that's it. He pushed you and everything.
Yeah.
So, I had a question and I totally forgot it. Dang. Oh yeah. I know that you mentioned stories. You got a ton of stories. Like, do you have any specific stories that the ones that come from like coaching or?
Yeah.
I don't know. You can kind of just go from there.
Well, like first off, like my sophomore year, like. I was like one of the better players in our grade, with some other guys. And
what team were you on, by the way?
I feel like I'm like the
sophomore year or varsity?
I played varsity special teams and then JV.
Okay.
On Saturday mornings, which first off, JV football, that was the most fun I ever had playing
Really?
football. That was, I mean, it was just like you wake up on Saturday morning, like, you know, you're just in the locker room, like half asleep, and you're just chilling with the guys. Like, it's like super relaxed, like it's serious, but it's super relaxed vibe, and like you just go out there and play. Like, all of my best friends now, I played JV football with my sophomore year. Like, that's how we became so close. Yeah. Was from JV football, and I was like, in the moment, I was like, oh, I'm playing JV, like this sucks. I want to be on varsity. This and that, and then like looking back on like that was so fun. Like
I bet.
I'm glad I didn't play like varsity only as a sophomore, just because I had so much fun playing JV.
Did you learn a lot from there, or was it just mostly?
I mean, like I kind of dominated in JV.
Yeah.
Because like I was fairly close to being a varsity level guy.
Yeah.
But I had Ty was one of the starters. You know, he's at IU now.
How big were you sophomore year?
I mean, I was probably like 6'1", like 200 pounds. So, like I was still like.
How are you now?
Like 6'2", 225.
Okay.
And like I had the size, like you don't have to be as big as I was. Like I just, you know, I wasn't quite there mentally, and then wasn't quite fast enough yet. I mean, depending on the year, you know, I would have got more playing time, whatever. But like Ty Wise, playing linebacker at IU, he's on scholarship, huge recruit. I mean, he's great.
What star was he?
3 stars. He had a lot of interest from like SEC schools,
That's
like
sick.
some bigger schools. He committed to IU really early, but yeah, he could have gone like to a lot of different places. I mean, I'm glad he's at IU. I'm glad I get to play with him again.
Yeah, that's gonna be sick.
And then the other starter was a senior, also a 3-star. Started since his sophomore year. He was just an animal. Not the best athlete, none of that. Joey Schmidt.
Joey Schmidt, okay.
Great mentor to me. He was just a dog on the football field.
Was he a linebacker?
Yeah, outside linebacker. And so he was the other starter, but he ended up not playing in college. But yeah, I mean, so him and Ty, both 3-stars. Like, it was tough to get on the field.
Oh, yeah, I bet. But, I mean, watching them and you watched film with them, and did you have, like, special practices where it would be, like, linebackers only?
I mean, like, when you're in practice, like, you don't just, like, scrimmage football the whole time. Like, you do position drills and position work, and then like in the film room it's just the defense working together. And like I would be asking those guys questions like all the time, like like
you gotta
do like why'd you do this on this play, like because a lot of it too is like you have to be a good enough athlete, but like you have to set yourself up for success to be able to make a play, because they're good athletes on the other side of the ball too.
Yeah.
So if you're not, like, that's what I said, like, I wasn't there mentally. Like, I didn't quite understand, like, why I should do certain things. And so then, you know, sometimes you end up out of position versus when you know, like, when you know where you need to be at all times, like, you're always set yourself up to make the play.
Yeah, I mean, even just hearing what you're saying now, like, you seem to know a lot about football, and I'm so excited for what you can do at IU and all that stuff. I guess we'll go into that. Like, you're playing with Carmel, so Carmel's obviously like a big Indiana football program. Yeah. Like we said, you're state champion. You won that junior year, right?
Yeah, junior year. Well, we can just get into that. I got a few stories from that year. Something my friends and I still laugh about.
Awesome.
Disclaimer, Coach Hebert, my head coach, great guy, great coach, like huge role model in my life.
Yeah.
But one day at practice, it was like the start of the season. We're having terrible practice. It's super hot outside.
Okay.
Coach Hebert's on edge. He's pretty pissed off.
Okay.
There's been like some guys who like dropped, like sat out of practice. They're like, oh, I don't feel well, like that kind of stuff. And you know, like a lot of us are like trucking through, like trying to get through it. And we're doing this punt drill. And like I'm on the punt team, so I'm doing the drill, you know. And you basically just have to sprint down the field and then mirror the returner. It's like he goes left, you follow him. Then he goes back to the right, you follow him. And he's going left and right, back and forth. And like I'm gassed.
Yeah.
And then Coach Hebert yells as I'm walking back, Turvy, do you need to sit down? And like obviously I did need to sit down, but I'm not gonna say that. And so my friends and I still laugh about that. And same drill. This drill is not my friend, apparently.
Were you the only one gassed on that one?
No, everybody's gassed. But like Coach Hebert would like pick on me because he knew like what I could be, and like he was just super hard on me, which I appreciate. But like,
100%.
And then there was another time, same drill, different day. I'm jogging back, like I'm tired, and he's just like, Turvy, you look like a 50-year-old man out there. I'm like,
I mean, yeah, that'll get you going though.
Yeah, no.
Jeez.
And everybody's laughing about that still. Like, we'll still talk about that.
I mean, yeah, all the boys will just gas you up and they'll be like, dude, coach is on your ass and all that shit. And then it'll get into your head and then you'll get kind of pissed for a bit.
Yeah. I mean, there were times, like, my sophomore year, like, again, Coach Hebert, like, great guy. Like, sophomore year, like, I'd go home from practice or from, like, a JV game and be like, man, I hate Coach Hebert so much. Like, he's being such a dick right now, like, all this stuff. And, like, looking back on it now, like, I think about all the stuff he said to me, like, he wasn't, like, being a dick. Like, he was, like, he did it because I needed to hear it. And it's kind of like a lot of people talk about, like, there's going to be an event and you're going to have to respond one way or the other, you know, positively or negatively. And, like, luckily, like, I took what he said and didn't, like, you know, give up. It made me push harder.
Sure.
But, like, you know, there were times where I was like, man, I can't stand Coach Hebert and all this stuff. And, like, looking back on it, I didn't want to quit. I was just so mad at him. And then I look back on it, like, I'm so glad he did it because I wouldn't have been a great player. Like, that really taught me to work hard.
Yeah.
Like, I thought I worked hard before, but then it was like, he was still on me all the time, like, you're not working hard enough. I was like, I feel like I am, but, you know, you got to always be stepping up your game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have a similar coach just like that. His name's Coach Alex. Shout out Coach Alex. Yeah, me and him got in some nasty fights, but yeah, he taught me a lot about, like, working hard at anything.
Yeah.
He applied it mostly to basketball because, like, I played basketball, whatever.
But then he expects you to take that off the court, too.
Exactly, yeah. Like, be a better person off the court, on the court, at everything. And I coaches who, like, can get that out to players, because I've tried, like, even when, like, I'm coaching, like, my little brother and something, trying to get him, like, motivated and stuff. It's hard. And the coaches who can do that are so special.
Like, Coach Hebert, like, like, when it comes to coaching football, like, you know, the X's and O's, like, scheming, calling plays on Friday nights, like, great coach.
Great coach.
But, like, in my opinion, what makes him the best is what he does for his players off the field, how he changes, like, he literally changes us from, like, boys to men. Like, and, like, that can, like, be overlooked, especially, like, when it's, like, maybe you don't have a successful year. Like, we lost in the regionals, and, like, yeah, sure. Like, a lot of schools would be happy to win a lot of schools would be happy to win a sectional championship, but like that's never going to be
like
the goal. No, like, we don't care about winning a sectional championship. We care about winning a state championship. So, like, you know, we failed that goal this year, but, like, the thing that Coach Hebert does, like, and I'm sure other coaches do it too, obviously, but it's like that you can't deny is that what he does for his players. Like, he spends so much time that nobody knows about, like, reaching out to guys. Like, there are guys, you know, who go through stuff that's tough, and, like, he's always there for them. He's reaching out to them, like,
that's awesome.
And, like, he'll talk to them after practice, and it's not about football for him. He does it, like, he told us, he's like I love you guys like you're a son to me. Like, he's like my family at this point. So
yeah, and I think that like makes you want to just play harder for him.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds amazing.
Kind of guy, like, you know, like, I'm gonna go to war for. Like, I mean, him and I have our moments where, like, you know, we get into it with each other because we both care so much. We both care so much about each other. So it's like, but yeah, no, I like this year in the sectional, I hurt my knee.
Yeah.
Somebody fell into my knee. Tried to put a brace on it, keep playing. I just couldn't go. It swelled up way too fast.
Yeah,
couldn't really move it, and I tried to play like got hurt right before halftime. After halftime, I tried to warm up and play, and I couldn't go. And the trainer told me, he's like, you can go as long as you feel like you can. So I tried to, I couldn't. I told Coach Hebert, and he's like, okay, I understand. Like, you know, you tried. And then first possession out, they scored on us. Yeah. And Coach Hebert turns around and starts yelling at me. He's like, you should have been out there. This wouldn't happen if you were out there. And, like, I was pissed at him. Like, I was like, I told you, like, I would be out there if I could, but, like, he obviously apologized to me after. He's like, you know, I was wrong. Like, I was just mad. But, you know, that kind of thing, like, he's, like, even though we're going to get into it a lot, like, he's always there for me. Like, he's always still even, like, I still talk to him all the time about, like, you know, my workouts and how things are going. Like, he always checks up on me, so he's just a great guy, great coach.
Yeah, I mean, that must have been tough, though. You had to take yourself out of your senior night game. Like, that's got to be tough, and then he yells at you. I can only imagine the emotions you were going through.
Yeah, I was pretty upset. And
smack him?
Yeah, and then one of my buddies, like Gavin Hale, like, probably my best friend, you know, he played inside linebacker for us. You know, like, I told you, like, we played JV together. That's how we really, I knew him before.
And he's a senior now, too.
Yeah, and I knew him before, like, you know, we played, like, rec league together, all that stuff. And then we kind of, like, became super close sophomore year, and then he was behind me. He was pissed too.
I bet.
And he was just like, that's not cool of him to say. He's like, he knows, like, you're a guy who's going to play through everything.
Yeah.
So, but, that kind of stuff happens, obviously. Like, high emotions, it's the playoffs. Still won the game. Played the rest of the season in a brace. I got another funny story.
Yeah? Go ahead.
Sectional championship, we're playing Brownsburg.
Okay.
Super overrated, first off. Let me tell you. So we've got, Carmel plays in the MIC.
Okay.
All right, that's the MIC. It's like the
Division?
something, yes, the conference that we're in. There's the HCC, the Hoosier Crossroads Conference, like Westfield, Fishers, HSC, Brownsburg, Avon, some other schools. And they're always telling everybody the HCC is better than the MIC now, because the MIC like kind of runs in.
So it's Carmel.
Carmel, Center Grove, Warren Central,
Okay.
Ben Davis, Lawrence North,
yeah.
like all the big Indianapolis schools. And so like we run Indiana, everybody knows. And like before my junior year, the HCC was like, oh, like we're better than the MIC now.
All the Westfield and Brownsburg guys?
Yeah, and so I don't really agree with it, but so we go out and play Brownsburg. Defense dominated. We had 10 turnovers.
Yeah.
I mean, we absolutely killed them. I had a pretty good play.
Dang.
Did
you force any?
I got a safety.
There you go.
Pretty early
we got
in the
the
game.
highlight. We'll pop that in there right here. That's on your mixtape, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So I got a safety. We had like 3 or 4 forced fumbles, like just crazy night for the defense. And so my knee was hurting. Like I'm like in the locker room before we left to go there, and I'm like, dude, I didn't practice all week.
Yeah.
Like they're like, you're gonna play, but like don't practice. Like we don't want to re-aggravate it.
They
And
wanted
so,
you to play but not practice at all? Not even warm up?
I mean, like I would like stretch and stuff,
Okay.
but it was like I was just trying to rest it still and like
Okay,
ice it
yeah.
and stuff. And I mean, like I get the mental reps, whatever. Like they at that point I'd started like 25 games in a row.
So you know.
So like
Okay.
I
You're in the system.
knew what I was doing, and they were just like, you're just gonna have to go out there and play, you know.
Yeah.
And I was going up against, they had this tight end, sophomore, 6'4", 250.
Dang. What position?
Tight end.
Oh.
And it's like I'm lining up across from him the whole game. And so that was a battle of its own.
I bet.
He's a big guy.
Is he going anywhere, you know?
I mean, he's a sophomore,
Oh,
so
okay.
but yeah, he'll go somewhere. He's pretty good. And then before the game, I was like, dude, I'm not feeling it. I popped like 4 ibuprofen, 4 Tylenol, and I swear I was tripping balls in the field.
Yeah.
After I got that safety, I don't know if I got hit in the head or something. Like I was like hallucinating on the sideline. Like,
Yeah,
it
you
was
probably
crazy.
got extremely lightheaded.
Yeah, no, I was like, holy shit, like I'm losing it.
So, I mean, before the game, did your knee hurt that much?
Yeah, no, my knee was killing me before the game, and I was just sitting there. Like that was the problem. Like normally, if I was just sitting, like my knee was fine.
Yeah.
But I was sitting in the locker room, and I was like, oh my gosh, like my knee is just like shit in the bed right now. Like what the hell?
Was it swollen or anything?
I mean, it was pretty swollen. Like,
Yeah.
and I threw the brace on, and yeah, no, I was like hallucinating on the sideline. And then I would go out there, and we would run out for the series, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'd like feel like I needed to throw up, but then like once we got going, I was fine again. But
Good.
yeah, that was
Some
a
weird
tough game to
times.
get through.
Yeah, dude, have you ever had anybody on your team just like, because I've seen videos of this, like people mid-set, like
Like
they're
right before the play starts, they puke.
Yeah, they yak right out on the
I've
field.
never seen it like in person. I've seen the videos,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I've never seen it in person.
Yeah, I gotta pull a trigger.
Yeah,
quick.
right. No, I've never seen that, but I mean, I can imagine, like, you know, you're not gonna take yourself out of a game, like, especially like when you play at such a high level, like high school football in Indiana, like that's good football. And I've seen like, you know, the videos like mostly like college guys where like if you're playing D1 football in college, like
And you want to prove something?
yeah, like you're not taking yourself out of the game.
Exactly. You want to try and get every rep.
But yeah, so Carmel football is probably like the best experience of my life, to be honest. Like I was talking to Garrett Sharp and one of my other buddies last night. We were hanging out, and we were like, we love to crack jokes about like stuff the coaches said, and like, but it's like, I was like, dude, like that was some of the most fun I ever had. Like, and they're like, yeah, no, like I can't imagine having not done that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can only imagine what it was like on the field Friday night, like
Especially
with the
when we
lights
had fans.
on.
When we had
Dude,
fans.
Exactly, because when I transferred from California to Indiana, right, junior year, I went to one of the games one time with Miles. I forget who you guys were playing, but dude, it was packed.
Yeah.
The student section is like filled with people all the way up to the top. And playing on the field, like, is that nerve-wracking?
Not really. Like, I was never one to get like super nervous like before games and stuff. But like, I'm like, there's like pressure there. Like if you mess up, a lot of people are gonna see, and like, you know, like, and not only a lot of people, your coaches are gonna see, and they're gonna pull you out of the game. But it's like, yeah, there's a lot of pressure there. Like, but it's just awesome. Like, this year, the one thing that sucks is like not like when you're playing it in front of like not that many people. It's just not the same. Like, Carmel's support like for the football team is amazing. It's like what we were used to, like especially when we made that state championship run. Like when we won state, like crowd going crazy. I mean, I mean, yeah, that we play at Lucas Oil. Like, I've gotten to play at Lucas Oil twice.
For what, the state, and what other?
My sophomore year we went to state. We lost.
Yeah. I thought I saw that on your story because you were saying, or on your Instagram because you were saying like back to back or something, trying to go repeat or whatever. But yeah, amazing times. So Coach Hebert, is he like? He was your guy. Did he help you in any way with this whole IU thing?
Oh, 100%. I mean, like he gets like all the guys recruited. I mean, like, you know, he does a really good job. I mean, like, it's not easy, especially this year with COVID. Like, you know, if we're gonna get into the recruitment, I'll go through the whole thing. Like,
yeah, go ahead.
After my junior year, I started all 14 games. You know, state champion. I was all conference underclassman. Not as good of an honor, but you know, it's like it's decent.
Still good.
And so,
all conference for the MIC, right? Okay. Yeah, but
so,
that's still with all the big schools.
Yeah, it was still decent. And I was splitting time. Like, I was splitting time the whole season until the playoffs.
Okay.
Split time with this kid. He was new to Carmel. It was kind of funny. I drove him to school every day, and like we're homies still.
Wait, does he live around here?
He goes to Indiana State now.
Oh, okay. Damn.
Shout out to my boy Jordan. Yeah, that's my guy. But he like we were like super chill. But I was like, obviously I was frustrated. I was like, you know, like I'm not playing the whole game. And, like, that's my goal. And so, you know, it kind of forced me. I'm glad it happened because it forced me to get better. I think I got kind of satisfied at the start of the season. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm the starter. Like, and it was like, okay, yeah, you're the starter, but you still need to continue getting better every single day. Just because like someone might not take your spot doesn't mean you can't get better. So I had kind of a bad mentality for a while, and that kind of helped me get out of it. It forced me to get out of it. Like, and so, you know, I just kept getting better. Did you have your
minutes like where the coach is like, hey, you need to step it up, or did you kind of?
Well, I mean, I kind of came to the realization myself when it was homecoming. So we're playing North Central. We lost that game my junior year, and I played only half the plays on defense. And
did you think that was kind of?
And I was very frustrated, and I was like, at first I was frustrated with the coaches. I was like, this is BS. And then I realized, you know, I'm like, coaches do stuff for a reason. Like, they're not doing it to, you know, hurt your feelings or something. They're trying to win a game, and if they don't think they can win a game with me on the field every single play, then I'm not doing something right. Exactly. So forced me to take a look at myself. But yeah, going back into the recruiting though, like, you know, I had a pretty good junior season. Like, not anything special where like I'm going to be like a highly ranked recruit. Yeah. And I didn't play much as a sophomore, which doesn't help either. But good season. Some of the MAC schools are reaching out to me, like Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan. Like,
were you interested in those?
Yeah, Miami was actually my top choice. I wanted to go there. They didn't want me, even as a walk-on.
Dang, even after they reached out to you?
Yeah, we'll keep getting into it. But so I was talking to like multiple MAC schools, and you know, it's starting to like look pretty good. Like, I'm building these relationships, and then COVID hits. COVID boned me.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, like, I went from talking to like 6 or 7 different schools, and like, I'm not saying they were going to offer me right then and there, but you know, they were keeping those interests going because it was basically like, I seemed like a guy who's poised to have a good senior year, and if I had a good senior year, like, then they're going to pull the trigger and offer me. So I get dropped by everybody, and which first I was really frustrating because like some of my teammates around me were still getting offers, and it was like, you know, if I would have gotten one offer, like that, it just is like a domino effect from there. Like, everybody reaches out to you once you get the offer, but so didn't really get anything. Like, you know, I knew I wanted to play D1, so my sophomore year, we're in the weight room. It's like first week of the season. I'm working out. Garrett Sharp, my lifting partner. I'm working out with him, and Coach Hebert's like, you know, how's your body feeling there? I'm like, you know, I'm pretty sore. He's like, He's like, yeah, you should try cryo, like this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I need to like start recovering better, like I'm trying to play D1, like I need to get better. And then he's like, well, that's kind of a stretch.
Yeah.
And I was like, that hit you hard. I was like, damn, like Coach Heber, like I was like, you're my guy, and like I told you that that's my goal, and like you're like, that's a stretch. And I'm sure like he believed in me, but it was like, trying to motivate me.
I mean, maybe he like said that though, yeah, like
to motivate me. And at the same time, like now looking back on it, like at the time it probably didn't look like I could go D1 because even though I worked hard, like I wasn't like that good, and so it's like, and a lot of guys who are D1 guys are really good when they're a sophomore. So that was whatever, it just pushed me to work harder. And so then, God, we keep getting all over the place with this, but so COVID hits, I get screwed, and then it's like I'm still talking to a few coaches. I'm talking to like Butler, talked to Coach Hugh about me. They're like D1 FCS, which means like.
And you were into Butler, right, for a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, like I always thought I could do better than that, and so they were talking. Well, the thing that made me really mad about Butler is, so they were talking to me, and then. So first off, FCS D1 non-athletic scholarship.
Yeah.
It's like all the Ivy leagues are FCS. Yeah, well, so at first Butler's talking to Coach Heber. They have a call with me, and they're like, "Hey, head coach recruits Carmel." He's like, "Hey, we're interested in you. Just want to let you know, we're not offering anybody until like 4 or 5 weeks into the season." It's like, okay.
And this is at the beginning of senior season?
This is like over the summer.
Okay.
Week later, they offered like 5 linebackers.
Oh,
well, and like first off, I thought I was better than those guys. It doesn't matter what I think.
How did you figure out about that, by the way?
It's all on Twitter. Okay. Everything like recruiting that's going on for football, it's on Twitter.
And where you had to like pick up on that and all that?
Yeah, so I see that and I'm like, first off, like, why are you lying to me? Second off, like, I know I'm better than these guys, but like, it doesn't matter what I think. It matters what they think. And so, and I'm like, yeah, man, like whatever. I'm talking to Drake University, which is also in Butler's conference. Like 4 weeks through my senior season, Drake offers me, so that's my first D1 offer.
Alrighty.
Pretty excited about that.
Were you thinking about that?
Yeah, and I took a visit, and it just didn't really feel right for me. But
where is that?
In Iowa.
Okay.
3 days after Drake offers me, Butler offers me. Before they talked to me over the summer, weren't really talking to me at all. I try to reach out, be like, like this and that, try and get the interest going. Not really giving me the time of day. Drake offers me, they offer me 3 days later without like anything. They just call me like, yeah, we're gonna offer you. Like, and like I thought.
What was your initial reaction?
I was like, I was appreciative.
Yeah.
And I was excited, but at the same time, I was like, it's kind of BS. Coach Hebert was not too happy about it.
I mean, did he say anything? Did you guys confront him at all, or no?
No, but I mean, he was just like, he had been trying to push for me this whole time, and he wasn't giving me the time of day. And I get one offer, and it's like they offer me.
I mean, yeah, just wanted to keep up the competition, not have you go into that. But even, I mean, we go back, like, Jack Mocknick was probably trying to get you to go to Butler. But
we talked about it at CDC practice a little bit.
Yeah, but even if that happened, dude, I would not want to play for somebody, like, because that even shows that they don't, like, have full belief in you.
Well, and I think, too, like, my senior season, like, was pretty good. Like, I proved a lot of people, like, who people said, like, I didn't play well enough in space.
You proved them wrong? Were you listening to what people were saying directly? Like,
I mean, like, it wasn't that they ever said it directly, but it's like, like, I knew what they were thinking. Like, I knew where my weak spots were, and something that Garrett Sharp and I were talking about, like, you got to attack your weaknesses. You can't just always focus on your strengths. Like, if you're good at something, like, you want to stay good at it, but you can't be like, oh, I'm good at this, so that's what I'm going to keep doing because I like that I'm good at it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get good
uncomfortable.
at it. Something Coach Hugh always says, like when we're doing finishers after our workouts, is get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Exactly, yeah. I was about to say the same thing. Like,
and that's not just like with working out, that's with life too. Like, you got to force yourself to, do things that you're not comfortable with, but be okay that you're not comfortable. Like, it's okay to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's okay to feel like, man, I'm super tired right now. Like, it's going to be hard to push through, but you got to be okay with the fact that you're not comfortable.
Exactly, yeah. 100% agree with that.
And so, keeping it going with that, Butler talked to me, and then the whole COVID thing's still going on. And
Yeah.
so that makes it really hard because the NCAA gives everybody another year. They're saying this season doesn't count.
For people who are already in college?
Right. So they're like, yo, if you guys want to come back, you can come back for another year. So it's like, well, where are the spots for us going to be? So they get cut in half, basically.
Jeez.
Scholarships cut in half, spots cut in half.
Is that like a whole NCAA thing?
For like D1, yeah. So everybody's getting screwed. Unless you're
football?
Yeah. Oh, and like maybe basketball too. I don't know, but for football, yeah. So like everybody's getting screwed. Like unless you're like a 3-star recruit who's been committed, like you're getting screwed. 3, 4, 5-star recruit, you're getting screwed. So finally after the season, and like Coach Hebert, always reaching out to coaches, and it's just like they don't really have time to talk to them. They've got a lot of other things on their plate.
Yeah.
Season ends. I'm like really frustrated. Like recruiting's not going my way, and it's like I feel like I had a great season. I was all state, like all MIC, and I thought I proved a lot of people wrong about the things that they said I couldn't do.
Yeah, everything on paper looked good.
And so finally, Coach Hebert just sends my film to Toledo. He doesn't have a ton of connections there, but it sends my film. They instantly respond. They're like, we like this kid.
Jeez.
They're like, he's going to have to be a preferred walk-on. We don't have any scholarships left, but we like him. They call me. They're like, we like what you can do. We've seen we've seen your film. Like, you could fit into our scheme. And I'm like, awesome. They're like, we'll probably let you know in like a week about the offer. And I was like, okay, cool. A week goes by. We had talked, but they don't offer me. They were my top school. Like, I thought they were going to offer me, and I was ready to commit.
You were ready to commit to Toledo right there?
Well, because my dream, I told you, I wanted to play D1.
Yeah.
And, like, I wanted to play real D1 football. Like, and the MAC is great. It's a great conference.
Yeah.
I want to play real D1 football. That was my goal. So, like, I was like, I can, make my dream a reality.
Yeah, all your dreams.
They don't offer me. Then it's like, Coach Hebert reaches out to Purdue. They don't even answer him. And Coach Hebert played at Purdue, by the way.
Yeah, so he's got all these connections of people.
And he's sent so many players D1. Carmel's a great program, and it's like he knows a ton of coaches.
Yeah.
He's had a ton of coaches come through our weight room to talk to guys. Like Urban Meyer was at our weight room.
Dude, who did he talk to?
Cole Rivard and Bo Robbins.
Jeez.
Back in the day. Like
where did they end up going?
Bo's at IU, plays D end, and Cole Rivard's at Penn State, plays nose tackle.
Jeez, Penn State, big school.
Yeah, so we've had so many coaches come through. Obviously, I'm not quite on that level, but it's like,
yeah,
Coach Hebert knows a ton of guys, and he reached out. He reached out to IU. They're kind of iffy, and he's like, just have Ty talk to Coach Allen. And I was like, Ty, if you wouldn't mind, reaching out to Coach Allen. He's like, for sure, bro. I got you.
Damn.
Literally a day later, they're calling Hebert about me.
Dude, that's some homie shit.
Yeah, no, for real. I was super. I didn't ask him at first. I could have months ago, but I was like, IU doesn't want me. I'm just not that level of player. It didn't seem like it, at least.
Yeah.
And especially with the interest I was getting. Why if the MAC schools aren't going to give me interest? Why would a Big Ten school give me interest? But and so they call him. They talk to me a day later. They're like, we like what we see. We're probably going to make preferred walk-on offers in a day or two, or either tonight or tomorrow. We'll call you back. That was on.
And who were you talking to? Because you're not talking to Coach Allen, right?
No, I was talking to Coach Wright, who is the tight ends coach, and he recruits Indiana. He also used to coach at Carmel.
Okay.
He was the head coach.
Did you know him?
No, he was the head coach before Coach Hebert, and Coach Hebert was an assistant. He left Carmel after 2015.
Okay.
Head coach at IMG. This dude's legit.
Wow. Jeez.
Coached at IMG for a few years, then last year was his first year with IU.
Yeah, so he was probably thrilled because you were another Carmel kid. Wanted to give him
Yeah,
a team.
and so then he talks to me, the recruiting coordinator talks to me, and he says, that was on Wednesday, he says, I'm going to call you back tonight or tomorrow about the offer. I was stoked.
Yeah, I would be too. IU?
It must have been, it was either Wednesday or Thursday, Kent State offered me a preferred walk-on. They called me out of nowhere. They had not talked to me at all.
And your coach didn't send them film?
No, he did. But they just they never responded. They responded out of nowhere. They get my number from them. They call me. They're like, hey, we're gonna offer you a preferred walk-on. No rush, but we want you to know it's there. Talked to that recruiting coordinator later that night. He's saying I think we're gonna offer you.
At Kent State?
No, recruiting coordinator at IU.
Okay.
Later that night, after I got the Kent State offer, he's like, he's like, it seems like we're gonna offer you. He's like, from my understanding, you're the top guy at linebacker for us that we're gonna offer, and so I'm stoked,
dude.
And so he makes it seem like he's gonna call me back that night, if not tomorrow. Doesn't call me that night, whatever. Thursday, don't get a call.
Damn,
I'm freaking out.
Especially
like I'm like,
you're
I was so hyped. Like I was like, it's gonna happen, and like I told my parents, I was like, I'm gonna commit if they offer me. They're like, of course. Like,
yeah.
You can't pass up that opportunity. It's a great school. It's a great football program. Two things you look for. Finally, I go through the whole school day on Friday. I'm just absolutely pissed at this point. I'm like, they didn't call me. Like it's not gonna happen. And then I'm working out after school in the weight room. Like I'm pretty pissed off. And I get a text from the recruiting coordinator. And it's like, hey, can I call you? And I'm like, oh shit. So I leave the weight room. I call him. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna offer you the spot. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna commit right then and there. So I committed. That was on Friday, Friday, January 27th, whatever the day was.
Yeah.
So committed right then and there. That was hype.
Congrats, by the way.
Appreciate it. I mean,
jeez.
There was times where it was I was working out in the off season, and I was working out after my senior season ended, and it was I just didn't want to work out anymore. I love working out, but I kind of lost the love for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was just the recruiting stuff was just so upsetting,
draining and everything.
And it just made me feel it's what's even the point?
Especially the way Butler did you, they did you dirty.
Well, and it was just it felt like I'd worked so hard for every off season and trying to get better, and I thought I had a great senior season.
Yeah.
And then it's I'm just not getting the looks I thought I deserved, and it's what's even the point of waking up at 6 in the morning and going to work out?
Yeah. And you don't even know if it's gonna happen.
Right. And I'm like, am I just doing this for no reason? So now that I've got my sense of purpose again, working out, I've been getting a lot of games recently. Just I'm just pushing myself harder. I have something to strive for now.
Yeah, having this in this room, working out and everything.
Yeah, and still going to my trainer 6 a.m. on virtual days.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I know now it's gonna pay off. My goal is obviously to get on scholarship.
For sure, dude. I'm so excited because like I said, I might go to IU. Reese, the cameraman, the guy I keep looking at, he might be going to IU too. And we got a ton of other people being in the stands. Hopefully, if they let us, with COVID, but cheering you on and stuff that's gonna be insane. Like I was saying earlier before the podcast, I want to get that jersey.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully after my freshman year. Mm-hmm. Then I could be getting on scholarship. I mean, they told me, if I can get on special teams, then, if you're a starter on special teams, you deserve to be on scholarship at that point. So that's my goal right now. That's goal number 1, get on special teams.
What, position?
Just be on, the kickoff team or something. Kickoff return. I just want to play football. I don't, that's, the joy. Practicing, practicing's fun. Being with the guys is fun, but, I guess now it's Saturday mornings, whatever. But I want to be on the field. It's not gonna happen right away. There's gonna be a lot of hard work that goes unnoticed for a while. Sure. But I mean, I know I know I'm capable of getting to that point. I'm just gonna have to work really hard. So.
Oh yeah. Who's that guy who's going to Iowa from Rebuff?
Jay.
Yeah, Jay Higgs. A lot of people were saying from him at Rebuff he was going to use. I was never close with him, but he's going to Iowa. I don't know if you know about that.
I know that. Yeah.
He a lot of people were saying he was just going to use freshman year to get big, bulk up, because Big Ten is just different with that whole
And especially obviously Rebuff's a smaller school.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you guys play against a lot of smaller schools, and it's not quite the same level. He's obviously a D1 football player. You can look at him; he looks like a D1 football player.
Oh yeah.
But he probably isn't used to playing against his high level competition, so it's going to be an even bigger jump. But obviously, you can tell he's capable of it. But
it would have been crazy to see how he would have developed on a team like Carmel, because even if you look at our teams, your team is just built, for lack of better terms, just built different. You guys are all big. The whole weight room, the whole culture of Carmel football is really there. I don't really think it's like that at Buff. I don't know. You probably, yeah.
It's a football town. I remember growing up. and I forgot to mention this. So I went to my first Carmel game when I was 6 or 7. My cousin was a cheerleader.
Okay.
So my mom's like, we're going to go to the football game, like, to support Christy. And I'm like, I don't want to go to a high school football game. Like, I want to go watch an NFL game.
Exactly.
Like, I get there. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. I was like, I told my parents right then and there, I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to play Carmel football when I grow up. And my mom grew up in Carmel, so she knows, like, how competitive sports are in Carmel. And she's like, well, you know, you don't want to get your hopes up. Like, it's really hard to play at Carmel. It's like, I'm going to play at Carmel. Like, I'm like, and she's like, well, maybe you can be on the team. And I'm like, Mom, I'm going to play Carmel. And she's like, and, like, she knew I was a stubborn kid. She's like, okay, like, whatever, Andrew.
Yeah.
Be like, I just knew, like, right now, that's what I wanted to do. Like, you know, I mean, it was awesome.
The crowd, I mean, like, to paint the viewers a story, like, the crowd was packed, right?
Yeah.
Just like it always is every Friday night.
Yeah.
I mean, I even know older people, like elderly people, who go to the games and they just go listen to, like, the people who talk about stuff on the newspaper or whatever.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know. I know my grandparents, at least, they'll be, like, looking at stuff from, like, high school sports scores and all that, and I don't know, it's a whole culture at Carmel, and that's just extremely, like, it makes you want to play harder and, like, work harder for them.
So when I was a kid, in 2013, we won state.
And we would have been in 5th grade, probably?
Well,
I think something like
7 years ago?
Yeah,
7, 8 years ago. So, yeah.
Something like
yeah,
that.
And they finished the year ranked 4th in the country.
Dang. So how do you find, like, all that stuff?
Like, Max Preps is, like, the biggest thing. Like, that's what it's ranked on. I mean, there's other stuff, like, or USA Today, too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, their rankings are usually pretty similar, what they do, so. But, yeah, we're ranked 4th in the country. Like, there's, like, a little trophy in the locker room, like, in the trophy case, like, it's, like, 4th in the country, like, Max Preps rankings.
Dude, that's
it's
insane.
Like, and, like, I remember watching that team, and it was, like, they were so dominant. And the crazy thing is, Warren Central that year was actually ranked higher than Carmel. They beat Carmel in the regular season. Yeah, and in the state. So going into the year, Warren was ranked number 1. We were number 2. Warren had, think about this. There's 11 guys on defense at the time, right?
Yeah.
They had 12 guys with D1 offers.
Jeez. So they even had
on defense. That's just on defense.
Yeah. Well,
so they had one of their backups had D1 offers.
Imagine being a backup on high school getting a D1 offer.
Like that's how good their team was, and so it's like this back in the day, Carmel and Warren used to play at Lucas Oil in the regular season.
Oh, and that was like the biggest thing.
I mean, Carmel Warren Central, huge
rivalry,
and so they're like Carmel loses like, and it was like close game the whole way. They lose, and then. We were in the South bracket that year, so there's a lot of talk that goes around, and like I guess it was 5A back then, but 6A football where it's like north side, north part of the bracket is super like weak in regards to like the level of the competition because all of the teams in the MIC are in the South, and then Carmel will go back and forth between North and South. Everyone's saying my whole career, I didn't really understand it when I was a kid, but they'd be like, oh, Carmel only makes it to state all the time because they're in the north. They have a free ride to state. We're in the South this year, 2013. So we're in the South. Warren Central's in our sectional, and we're the top 2 teams in the state still. We beat Warren first round of sectionals.
Dang.
So then, and then we have to play
single elimination, right?
Yeah, and then you have to play the whole MIC again, right? Like everybody who you play in the South is from the MIC.
Yeah.
And so then,
that's divided by like actual geographic.
Yes.
Okay.
And so they play basically a whole nother season against MIC teams, basically in the playoffs. They get to state. They railed Penn. Penn's like up in northern Indiana. It's like 56-0. Like absolutely destroyed them. And so
were you watching the games and like keeping track of all this?
Yeah. And so like I mean I was always like super into it. And so it was funny because like. My junior year, we were in the north side of the bracket, and we dominated everybody up until state. We mercy ruled Westfield. Let that be known.
Let that be known.
So we just dominated, and then got to state. Center Grove played us super tough, and they were a really young team. Obviously, they won state this year.
Yeah.
They were crazy. They were like top 15 in the
Who did
nation.
they beat?
In state, Westfield. They beat Westfield in state this year because we were in the South, and we lost to Ben Davis, who we shouldn't have lost to, but we would have played Center Grove the next week, and Center Grove would have beat us. They already destroyed us early in the year.
Yeah.
Center Grove beat Westfield, and like everybody from Westfield was like, "Oh, you know, we made the state. Carmel didn't." And I'm like, "That's because you guys didn't play us." But
I mean, yeah, but they still got. What was the score of that game? Even the place at all?
like 31-10 or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Center Grove seemed like they were pretty down. I mean, Center Grove's team was crazy. A lot of D1 guys.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait for IU next year. I think we'll wrap it up here.
That was an amazing episode. Good stuff, my man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. See you guys next time. Keep it wavy. Deuces. Oh yeah.